Hi, welcome back to Keep It Dirty, a podcast where my guests share their life living functionally and sustainably, and the why behind their experiences navigating through our ever changing environment. I am your host, Leslie Dowling. I'm a corporate speaker, and I share how one can jumpstart your path to increase revenue and productivity through restorative health techniques. And today it's a pleasure to welcome my guest, Robyn Spence. Robyn is an accomplished professional therapist and coach. Robyn is also the founder of Boundary Club, which specializes in coaching women who people please and overindulge, which the focus is really on learning how to take care of one's own needs. So thank you for being here, Robyn. I'd love for you to share with our viewers today and listeners a little bit about your background and why you're doing what you're doing today.
Yeah, thank you. It's really a pleasure to be here. If I can share a little bit about me, I think one of the things is that prior to coming to this work, I moved across a few sectors in my time. I used to work in the luxury goods industry for 15 years, and then I made, I think, a very deliberate decision on how I wanted to work and the uniqueness of the work I do, which brought me back to what I originally studied at university was psychology. And I decided to become a coach, and I was already a therapist. So I think what compels me to kind of do this work and what I'm known for is kind of understanding and moving people through complex emotions that, kind of help them stabilize and stop unwanted habits. And I really enjoy doing that work.
And I'd love for everyone just to hear a little bit about, a little bit more about your background, or did you ever think you'd be doing what you're doing today? And, finding your true passion. Have you found your true passion, or are you still growing and evolving and tweaking what you're doing?
Yeah, it's very different from what I used to do. I used to work for very, very high-end jewelry. I am an accomplished jeweler, goldsmith. It's very different to what I did before, and I've worked for some of the top jewelry brands in my time. So this sort of work is completely different. Now, what brought me to this work was I burnt out. And initially, I thought I wanted to work within the sector of health and wellness. I qualified as a nutritionist. I spent some time in that role. But what I found is that in order to help people move forward, there was something missing around the complex emotions that are involved with overeating, overdrinking, and all of these things that people do to soothe themselves. And I went back and studied a little more about that, became a coach, and, requalified as a therapist. And I'm really delighted to be doing this work. It is my passion. I have found my place in this world.
And do you work with people virtually all over the world? Did you notice that with the pandemic, that literally we all were under roof, or are you more active one-on-one with having your clients come into your office?
So prior to the pandemic, I worked in a clinic setting, seeing clients in clinic, but I also spent 2 days working with people online. So I've always had the duality of working with people in both settings. When the pandemic, of course, I converted everything to an online format, and that is where I've stayed. I do enjoy doing this work, and I still occasionally work with people in a clinic format. But that has to all be sort of, arranged ahead of time. But I do enjoy working online, and it's allowed me to work with people that I never dreamed I'd work with in so many different geographies.
And with everything that we, I think, have all been going through, it really resonates and hits home with just losing people in our lives, whatnot. What kind of triggers is that a trigger with people that overindulge, or, just having tragedies or hurdles that can trigger other things on a deeper level. And yeah, I'd love for you to just maybe speak into that.
Yeah, I think there are numerous things which sort of keep people stuck. And one of the things is behavioral things that happens is when people feel that they need to soothe. And this may go back to when they were a child. And I think part of the problem with soothing is that there are so many things which are around to soothe us, whether it's over shopping, over drinking, overeating, saying yes when you really mean no, people pleasing. And so when we are stuck in these difficult emotional situations, we find ways to lighten the situation. And a lot of times that looks like soothing.
And as an entrepreneur, because I think we could all, for people that take that leap of faith to start their own business, putting your heart and soul into something that maybe other people will not really understand. I was just wondering, how do you balance just staying in check with yourself? Because I know as a practitioner, sometimes the things that I'm preaching, sometimes I know I need to do certain things, but I get so caught up with everything that sometimes I put myself last. So maybe you could share some of that with us.
Yeah, that's a really great question. I think part of it is how the Boundary Club was founded is out of setting some boundaries for myself and doing this work. Really, because I didn't start with boundaries. I started in a place of helping people to come to terms and to resolve difficult habits, and that morphed into boundaries. And so I think setting boundaries has been something for me that goes way back. I ran an office with hundreds of people, but I couldn't say no. I couldn't say no to perhaps, not having that third drink. I couldn't say no to a lot of things. And so finding the courage to kind of move into this area of setting boundaries and being able to start with myself. And then I realized that so many other people needed this support around advocating for themselves. And that became the thing that really moved me from what I was doing into this work. And I absolutely love this work, and I realize how much it's needed in so many different areas of our lives. And so setting boundaries became sort of the solution to a lot of the problems I was working with and with, the various clients that I work with.
So did you have like an aha moment where you were just like, okay, I have to transition from that empath? I don't know if it's an empath, but someone who's a yes person to really getting out of that mold and just staying strong with just saying no and being okay with that?
Yeah, I think it was that I realized I wasn't setting boundaries across the board in any areas of my life. Like I couldn't say no to my children. I couldn't say no to my colleagues. I couldn't say no to, my clients changing appointments all the time. And so then I just thought, you know what? I'm going to start working on my boundaries. I'm going to start setting boundaries. I'm going to become very familiar with the whole process of setting boundaries. I'm going to study this work and I'm going to develop a system that helps people with the language, the ability to set and to implement and to communicate their boundaries. I think it's needed work in so many different situations. People can't set boundaries in a marriage. Most of us can't set really good boundaries with our children. And, we don't set boundaries at work. We work hours that we shouldn't. We don't say no. And so I think no is a complete sentence that most of us have not learned how to use.
Yeah. And I know you specialize in really working with women, but do you ever get men calling you saying, I need help? Or are, the, are there therapists out there that, I guess, especially being a mom of three boys, I have one that's definitely an empath. So, we always kind of see the women as the one that's like No, no, no. Yes, yes, yes. I will do, you know. Um, so I was just curious about that. I guess there are therapists out there for the men, but yeah.
So what I would say to that is that if you look at a lot of the things I talk about, they are related to women. But I
Mhm.
have quite a few men that I've been working with for years, and
Oh,
they are
cool.
referrals. A lot of my clients come via referrals, so I do work with men. I just don't really necessarily speak to men in a lot of the posts that I do.
Yeah.
And I love working with men. I love the men I work with, and the work that I do with them, because I think boundaries
Mhm.
cuts across gender, it cuts across age brackets, it cuts across various professions. I think we all need a good understanding of how to set good boundaries, and I think boundaries enhance relationships. I really am a firm believer of that.
Yeah. And I'd love to hear more about what is your regime? Like, what do you do to keep you in balance with, like, spiritually, physically, emotionally, while balancing and having your business?
Yeah, that's another great question. I think for me, my some of my regimes are, I make sure that I do look after myself. That's a boundary for me. When I'm tired, I take time away. But I do love walking. I do like getting out every day, getting into whatever weather. I like to walk, and that allows me to really clear my mind and to think about the things I want to do in my business. When I need to step back from my business, I do that. That's another boundary. I make sure that I eat well and I look after myself. Now, life gets in the way. And, we all have times when it's particularly unpleasant. That comes to all of us. But I make sure that I'm in touch with myself, that I have an awareness of when I need to step back. And if I need to ask for help, I do that. I have a coach.
Hmm. Yeah, and I think that's something else that I was just listening to a podcast, and they were talking about just giving yourself some grace with detoxing from social media, because there is a group of us that are so passionate, very active on social media, and I'm trying to pace myself as to, when am I going to give myself downtime? And is that a challenging challenge with you? Because social media is like the Wild West. It's always changing. We always have to be on top of it. I know for me, I'm a one woman show, so I want to learn it all and not just have somebody else do it, because they don't know my personal brand, and I'm growing and evolving. So yeah, I'd like to hear more about what you think about social.
Yeah. I have a kind of funny relationship with social media. I'm very capable of stopping, especially certain types of social media. So I have there is a firm discipline around social media. I do what I need to do. I set my time limit and then I come off. I'm not compelled to be on any of the social medias all day and, living my life vicariously through them. So I think I may be a unicorn in that way, but I do have a firm boundaries around social media for that reason, because I think it can be quite compelling. And I think it has the ability to really sort of incestuously move through your life if you're not careful. So for me, I do what I need to do on it, but I don't have that sort of attraction to it. That's compelling. Um, so I think I'm a little unique in that way. But I do have concerns around social media and how much people invest in it. And I do think, setting some firm boundaries around how much we are on it, how much it consumes a space in our life, I think is really important to have that awareness.
And do you get support, like, as your family, the cheerleaders supporting you as you are just growing and evolving and integrating and having, the boundary club? Are they pretty, like, good with just supporting you and your business?
Yeah, I
Oh,
have two girls, two grown-up daughters, and they shoot a few darts at my business and they challenge me, and
yeah.
you know, and but they also are hugely supportive and proud of what I'm doing. So I get it both ways. Why did you post this?
Oh,
And is that relevant? Or you could do this better. So they are hugely supportive in the way that your children are, and I'm very grateful. For my eldest daughter, she has great insight into certain things. So which is immensely helpful in moving forward. And they're also, sort of sit in the space of really getting just an understanding of where, people their age are and what they're thinking. So, they are helpful in many ways, my children.
yeah. It's always nice to have that support system and that camaraderie and those cheerleaders at home too. So I always ask my guests, do you have any role model, somebody that you used to look up to that really had was instrumental in possibly changing the direction of your life, or just somebody you've always looked up to?
Well, I think there have been a couple of women in my life who have um, made a huge give had a huge impact on my thinking, my ability to move from what we would call a traditional working way into me becoming this entrepreneur that I have become. One of them is a dear friend who is a captain of industry and who she's done very, very well. I won't name her, but she's been hugely supportive of everything I've done, and has recognized me in so many ways, and I'm very grateful to her. And I also would say that my mother's mother, my grandmother, was very entrepreneurial, and did things at a time when women weren't sort of identified as having their own businesses and doing really unusual things. And so I have to say that she was a great role model to me as well. So and there are a couple of men around too who I hugely admire. So I think I've taken some of the very best teachings from them, and that has helped me to really uh, start my business, to continue with my business, which has been going for over 8 years now, and to continue to innovate and change and move forward, and they've given me the courage to do that.
Yeah, because it seems like just sharing and meeting people that really have gone on a different path than working corporate or for another business. Um, it's the not having that fear, not questioning themselves, and going with really their driving inner fire that's taking them to another course in life. So I find that really gratifying, just being empowered by individuals like you that really have taken the reins and are very entrepreneurial. So for people that are out there that want to start their own business, what kind of advice can you give them?
Yeah, and I want to acknowledge you as well, Leslie, because we know each other from way back, and how you've moved forward and changed, and grown your business as well. So you also stand as a beacon of light for people all around the world. So I wanted to acknowledge you. So I think what I would say is to really honor your dreams. Honor your own dreams. You know you better than anyone else, and trust yourself. Trust the process. If there's something that you are passionate about, you have to go out and try. Um, and be prepared to have feel that you're going to fail and have doubts, and you will fail at some things. But the key thing is to get back up and to doubt the doubt, not your ability to move forward. That's the thing I always say, because I also train a lot of new therapists. That's also a passion of mine, teaching. Doubt the doubt, just not your ability to move forward and to uh, uh, grow your business. the possibility is always there.
I love that. That should be your tagline. Doubt to doubt. I think that's just so powerful. Um, so, Robyn, how can people get in touch with you? And if is there are there any other projects on the horizon that you'd like to share with the viewers and listeners today?
Yeah, people can get in touch, robinspins.com. And in the new year, we're going to be starting the next group for the Boundary Club, which is really exciting. So, in the Boundary Club, we spend 4 months together, and where I help you to communicate, to set and implement, healthy boundaries, because there are all types of boundaries, and move you from being stuck to being able to advocate for yourself. So, I'm looking forward to the next group starting. And also, I want to just say that this is November, and November is the month of November. So, as the holiday season is approaching, I would encourage people to be prepared, and have their boundaries in place, as they go out and engage with relatives and enjoy this coming festive season. Be prepared to, say no when you want to. Be prepared to, implement self-care and to step back when you want to. Be prepared to, tell relatives and set boundaries around how you want to engage with them in the coming festive season. So this is the month of no, and I call it November.
I like that. And just I'm just curious, where do you see yourself, say, in 5, 10 years? Just growing the Boundary Club, or do you have other things on your bucket list?
Oh, that's a really good question. So, um, you know, being able to work from anywhere in the world is such a plus, and I love that. I look forward to more travel, and retreats in beautiful places. Next year, at the end of next year, we're planning a retreat in Portugal. And I look forward to the people in the Boundary Club joining us. And I think in the next couple of years, I would like to do retreats in other special locations. That's one of the things. And growing the Boundary Club and really teaching other coaches how to do the work that I do. So yeah, there are some interesting plans for the future.
I love that. And I would love to go to whatever destination that you're going to be traveling to with your group, because I love to travel too. Um, so, Robyn, I always ask everybody, is there any hidden hobby or special thing that you do that not many people know about Robyn Spence?
I think the people close to me know this, but I am a tennis fanatic. I play tennis. I watch tennis. I've been to every tournament, Grand Slam in the world, including Australia. And that is my other passion is the game of tennis.
How exciting. I love that. And you're a woman after my own heart, because I played in college and high school. And if you ever come to the States, in Pennsylvania, I have the clay court right behind me in my home. We are crazy tennis fanatics too. So there's that commonality. There we go.
Oh, I love that. So as we say in the game on.
Yes, absolutely.
Love that.
So, Robyn, it was such a pleasure having you again. I think the last time I had you on, I didn't really have a show yet, and I was just going through my IG on my Instagram to interview you with such wonderful women along with you. So we definitely have to keep connected and to keep in touch. And then down the road, I'd love for you to be a guest on Keep It Dirty. So thanks again.
Oh, thank you so much. And again, I love what your interviews have become, and you're becoming legendary. So keep going.
Well,
It's fantastic what you're doing, and thank you so much for having me.
you are welcome. And for all our viewers and listeners today, remember, get out there, ground with Mother Earth, and keep it dirty. Thanks again.